Welcome to this webinar of Her Unspoken Problem. And Dr. Narendra, President of the INSARG, and Madam Jaideep. Actually, no gynecologist, every gynecologist know Madam. Dr. Jaideep is our dynamic Foxy past president, and she is from the Agra, and she is the vice president of INSARG. And Madam is going to tell us in short about the her unspoken problem, what we are going to discuss. Over to Madam Jaideep.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Ragini. Hi, good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see all of you today, this evening. And I think this is a great way of connecting with each other. At INSAT, we've been really worrying about, a lot of issues which women face on a day-to-day basis, but are very shy to come out with. And I'm sure each and every one of us understands that, whether be it stress incontinence or be it some kinds of sexual problems or cosmetic, so many problems which especially the young women are coming up in a big way. But many times I feel that apart from a few people in the country or maybe in the world, not all of us are really geared up in addressing them. And sometimes we are very judgmental in saying that, oh, what's the need of going through, let's say, any cosmetic surgery on the vulva or the vagina? Why should you be really looking at this is just normal? And we just pass them away by making such judgmental comments. And this organization is all about addressing all these unspoken problems. So what are these unspoken problems? I would like Dr. Naren Malhotra to address us and tell us, like, how to recognize, how to basically, without being judgmental, address them, and what are the various ways of basically managing and treating them. Naren, actually, Ragini, you were supposed to introduce him. If you want to go ahead and introduce him, uh, or otherwise, I mean, I can just continue. I'm sure everyone knows Naren.
Yeah, everybody knows
And,
Dr.
he
Narendra.
has been past president of Foxy, ESAR, IFUMB, and also now, right now, for this INSARG. So it's really a pleasure to hear you, Naren. As you can understand, both of us are isolating and maintaining social distance, so we are in so welcome, Dr. Naren, and we are eagerly waiting for your lecture.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alma Lasers, Femile, for setting up this great webinar. Let me tell you that INSARG will be doing this webinars on every Thursday. And the next Thursday will be Tanuja, then Preeti, then Ragini on one each, and we will give you all the topics, details after it. So every Thursday this time, you will have a lecture on one of the her unspoken problems which we see. So let us see what are women's unspoken problems. Now, women don't speak about a lot of problems, and these are pelvic organ prolapse, symptomatic or asymptomatic, urinary dysfunction, stress urinary incontinence, sexual dysfunction, the overactive bladder, fecal incontinence, pelvic pain, vulval and vaginal itching and pain, and abnormal vaginal discharge. Lot of them will just keep these problems with her. So to deal with all these problems, internationally we have a new super subspecialty emerging. And this super subspecialty in the world is called as female pelvic medicine, or reconstructive surgery, pelvic surgery, or cosmetic and aesthetic gynecology. Now we in India, the ones you're seeing here, represented India in last year in Edinburgh in the World Congress. And after that, we decided that India should have its own society like this. So we have Indian Society of Aesthetic Regenerative Gynecology. And that is where we have started with Dr. Ragini as the president-elect, Jaideep as vice president, and Preeti as secretary. So let us see what we are going to talk on today in the reconstructive medicine. And this reconstructive medicine would include vaginal tightening, post-delivery rehabilitation, management of SUIs, management of vaginal dryness, management of vulva or the vulval rejuvenation, any scars over the body, vulvodynia, vestibulitis, lichen-like diseases, vaginal itching, and infections, and bleaching. People are not happy with the colors, so these surgeries could be offered to them also. So the most common is urinary incontinence. And I would request whoever is joining the meeting, please mute your so that we do not get any background music or a background sound. So the incontinence could be stress, could be urge, could be mixed, could be overflow, could be atypical. And we will discuss full incontinence in details by Dr. Lalita in one of the next Thursdays or next to next Thursdays, the schedule which we'll tell you. Now, what are the symptoms of incontinence? Women has urgency, women have frequency, women have nocturia, enuresis, and dysuria. So the common causes, the commonest of them is urinary tract infections, which we must be deal first, and you give medications. Some medications cause urinary problems. Abnormal growths in the bladder like polyps, stones, cancers, urinary tract abnormalities like fistula, diverticulum, and neuromuscular problems in women. And of course, the pelvic support problems. The pelvic support problems are very, very important problems in this age group. So this leads to a problem of lifestyle, problem of bladder training. We need to give them physical therapy. A lot of them require pessaries. A lot of them we have medications, bulking agents, we have surgeries, and today we have the newer energy-based vaginal rejuvenation, what we call as the laser rejuvenation. So general measures which these women should undertake. Someone is not unmuted. Can you unmute him? Because he's talking to patients while listening. He's talking about 100 rupees consultation. Please mute karo, unmute everyone. Okay, so that's better. We come out of this lockdown. So we have general medicine, So we have general treatment for these measures for incontinence. Women should reduce weight, stop smoking, treat the chronic constipation and chronic cough, and advise regarding the use of pads and the garments. The pads and the urinary garments has become a #1 market today. And then what we usually tell women is to do Kegel exercises. Now, when we tell them Kegel exercises, we just tell them, baitho, tight karo, loose karo, tight karo, loose karo, aise karte raho. So now that is not proper Kegel exercises. If you want to tell them or train them for Kegel exercises, they have to lie properly, fold their legs up, and then with the finger or this thing, tighten the vagina and feel the pressure. Now, most of them are not able to do this. So we have what is available commercially, which is known as Kegel Master. And this has 15 levels of resistance depending on the laxness of the vagina. This the patient can lie down and introduce in the vagina like this, and then put the button on, and you see in the video, how it is up and down, massaging the anterior and the posterior walls. Now this can be carried on, and it has 64 levels, this machine, and this can be carried out. This used to be available with Amazon. It is in short supply now, but I think you can buy it from Amazon. Lot of the urinary surgeons and the urinary people will advise surgery straight away for stress incontinence and not go into any others. Now we have vaginal surgeries, which we all do, like anterior repairs, and for posterior, we do posterior repairs. We have needle suspension, we have slings, we have Marquette's operation, we have MMK, we have colpo suspension, we have abdominal slings, we have laparoscopic slings, laparoscopic colpo suspensions, and laparoscopic slings. What we are aiming by all these surgeries is to correct the angle and just lift it up. So if you correct the angle, the bladder corrects. Then sometimes some people have tried to put bulking agents here at the internal meatus, and that bulking agents probably corrects a lot. And let's see how we can do that. So for stress urinary incontinence, if you look at, for a laparoscopic bladder suspension, and if you look at the video here, the laparoscope goes in and then it goes down and then it suspends to the pelvic wall. Now these are by TVTs, tapes and everything. And see, when you bring it out from here, the sling goes like that and then comes out from here and it is tightened here. So it is stitched here, tightened here. And that will lift the angle up, and when it lifts the angle up, it corrects the stress incontinence. Now, this will work only if there is a structural problem, and it does not work for physiological or psychological incontinence or things like that. So the cure rate with tapes goes up to 60 to 90%. The indications is primary tape suspension or failed previous surgeries, or a concomitant prolapse surgery has to be done along with it. But the complications are many, like bladder perforation, retention, urgency. And the complications are so much that in USA, some group of lawyers called themselves as tape lawyers. And they started advertising that if you had a tape and it has failed, come to us and we will sue the doctor. So this has gone off and is hardly used except for where indicated or where allowed. So in USA, it has gone off. Now, this is what I was talking about, bulking agents. Now, these bulking agents can be introduced by the side of the urethra through the vagina here, or they can be through the hysteroscope, through the cystoscope inside here, like that. And this bulks the internal meatus and causes inflammation here. So it causes tightening here and probably works. And the cure rate is as good as the tape, which was a major surgery. Here it's a very simple needle surgery which is required. Now, implants and tapes all have unwanted effects like retention, urge, and did not respond, hematuria, and then you have to go ahead and sometimes remove the tape and re-loose the tape. So surgery has its own complications, and these complications would be damage, voiding dysfunctions, bladder perforations, visceral injuries, hemorrhage, mesh erodes, extrusion of the mesh, urinary tract infection, groin pain, chronic groin pain, which is even more. The woman comes back and says, "Ye kya kar diya? Now I have more pain," and dyspareunia, of course. So these should be managed. The second unspoken problem which a woman has, which again the next lecture or the next to next Dr. Ragini will be addressing in detail, is the postmenopausal genital. Right now is being used by about 20 gynecologists, FemiLift in India. The other energy-based devices are also being used in India in cities like Calcutta, Bangalore, Jaipur, Agra, Surat, Delhi, Nasik, Nellore, Mumbai, Chandigarh, and even more have been added. Chennai is there, which I know. And the other energy-based devices in places like Indore and the other places. So a lot of these devices are being used nowadays. We will talk a little bit about the fractionated carbon dioxide laser. Now, what do I mean by fractionated? When we have laser, we know it is light amplification. So it's a beam, as you use in laser torches. And it goes through a medium, so that if it goes through carbon dioxide, it is known as carbon dioxide laser. Goes through erbium, it is known as erbium laser. Goes through helium, it is known as helium laser for surgical procedures. So here we use 10,600 nano colposcopes also. So you can do a colposcopic laser with it. Now it comes with so many probes. The standard probe, if the vagina is thin, we have the FemiLift Slim probe. We have a FemiLift Smart probe, which is robotic. We have the FemiLift True Spot. So if you want to do spot, like burn off moles and burn off small dot areas, we have the FemiLift probe. We have the Slim probe again for this thing. We have FemiLift Smart. We have the light scan, the FemiCam, the camera attached on the speculum. So we take a picture before, and we have a focus knife, which we use for cutting. So Bartholin says vaginoplasties, vulvoplasties, all we use the same laser. First thing which we do in these patients is put in the lighted camera speculum by just putting a little bit of jelly. Now, because we're using laser, we don't use saline or betadine. Because when you use saline, the laser will heat up the saline and cause fumes and cause burning. So you have to use just jelly, Johnson baby oil or any baby oil or any jelly. Now, this FemiCam can be used in your OPD as an LED to do a colposcopy. So it visualizes the vaginal mucosa pre and post treatment, and you record the image, and then you can compare the image. So you evaluate the tissue by before and after the treatment. So what laser will cause? Laser will cause the, now because we are splitting the laser, so one beam of laser goes, it's split into 81. So it causes micro holes to a depth of 6 millimeters in the vaginal wall. Now there are no vessels there, so there will be no bleeding. There are no vital structures there, so there will be no vital injury. Even when you do it on the anterior wall where the urethra is, it's much behind. So it is addressing or causing a thermal damage to the collagen tissue behind the mucosa. So initially it will cause shrinking, then it will cause a deep aseptic wound, and to correct the wound, the collagen will remodel. And the collagen remodels around the vulval epithelium, it becomes stronger and tighter. So that is how it works. Now this is after the procedure, the micro holes, the 80 holes which the laser has made in the vagina. Now, when these holes are made, we have now added using PRP with all the therapies. So now we make a PRP solution before, and then we smear the PRP in the vagina. So this PRP goes through these small holes into the collagen and causes better healing and better collagen development and causes the results to much improve. So the microablative effect on the vulva would be these dots immediately post, and 2 weeks you see it has all healed up. There are no dots or no damages then. So the protocol is the FemiLift probe is prepared, a lidocaine jelly is applied to the introitus. Introitus is where the sensitivity is. So we'll have to reduce the wattage at the introitus, while inside the vagina we can go up to 25 or less. Outer part of the introitus, we have to come down to sometimes 15 millijoules per and 3 passages. Usually the protocol is 3 passages, but what I am now using and the study which I'm going to present or publish very soon is 5 passages. And we repeat after a month for 3 times, and we repeat after a year for the memory. So here are some of my cases. A 45-year-old nurse, patient 0, comes in 0. She's healthy, had no operations. For 2 years, she's feeling pain at the introitus at 12 o'clock. Effects, work, avoid sex, trial of various treatments has failed, workup has no infection, normal colposcopy, no diverticular, and we put her on a FemiLift therapy. So 90 first, then 60, and the second 40, and the third was 1 or 2. After the second treatment, she resumed normal sexual activity. VSS is visual analog score for pain, and that was 75 to 90. That was 90, so it was severe. And after the first treatment, the pain came down to 60. So it was moderate. And after the third treatment, the pain came down to 1. So no pain, or very mild pain. So that is how good it works in 3 months. The second case, a 32-year-old G1P1, healthy, no operations. Since delivery, she's complaining of vulvodynia. All local treatment, behavioral treatment, psychotherapy, local anesthetics, everything ruled out. Again, we started on FemiLift. VAS before treatment was 10. After 1, 7, after the third treatment came down to 3. It's not miracle treatment. All will not come down to 0, but it reduces dramatically. Again, the third one, healthy, no operations, 36-year-old, 2 years, pain intercourse, and pain on sitting. No infection, normal colposcopy. VAS before was 9, after 1 treatment 7, second treatment 4. That's how good it was with her for second treatment, and she's very much happy. Again here, vestibulitis, no improvement. The visual pain score improves to 3. What is our experience since last 2 years? And this is our experience till April 2019, which has gone for publication. 156 cases of mild SUI, mixed SUI, not responding to treatment, added medical treatment with it, 70 cases of vaginal tightening, 4 of them demanded after delivery. We have now made a package for women who are delivering normally that you can come for a vaginal rejuvenation in the delivery package only. 27 for mild prolapse, which were unfit for surgery, 17 warts removed by spot, 9 wanted reshaping of the vulva, 6 were lichen-like pictures, 24 were done for vulval vaginal itching, 29 for vaginal dryness, which I had no treatment, and now with the derma department using the same machine, we are all using it in a cosmetic department. We also presented our collective Indian experience with Dr. Preeti, Ragini, Vidya, everyone. Sukrut, Rajiv Agarwal, Apurva from all over India. And we now had presented 1,000 cases at the Edinburgh conference. So what are the non-gynae uses for gynecologists? You can also use the same machine for pregnancy stretch marks. Yeah, surface laser. You can remove all of them like that. You can use it for facial. You go to the facials for getting a facial done. A laser facial is much better, which gives you tightening and gives you lightening. We can use to remove warts anywhere and acne, chronic acne. We can remove dark spots and moles from anywhere. Even very sensitive areas. You can remove scar marks, post cesarean section keloids, and the indications are evolving, the cosmetic indications. And Dr. Preeti and Dr. Savana has worked much more in the cosmetic part, and they will be, I will request Preeti to tell us what is her experience after we finish this. We use the knife, the laser knife, for doing all operative surgeries, including the abdominal scars, skin cut, the cesarean skin cut. We're using the CO2 laser knife for it. So ladies and gentlemen, the need is real to address her unspoken problem, and the need has to be respected. If a woman wants it, she should decide. She should decide it is her which matters, and she should not be allowed to suffer in silence. So today's indications are vaginal tightening, post-delivery rehabilitation, SUI, vaginal dryness, vulvar rejuvenation, scars, vulvodynia, lichen, but the demand and the increase is increasing day by day. And that is where the need for a new organization, that is where the need for new guidelines, and that is where the need for making the correct indications. There are a lot of clinical studies which have been already published in oncology patient for VBA, in oncology, the preliminary results which shows in SUI, the questionnaire-based results, and the pixelated CO2 laser technology for treatment of incontinence. We'll be discussing next Thursday by Dr. Lalita and by Dr. Ragini also. But big evidence, backed by studies in very reputed journals are already available on the CO2 fractionated CO2 laser and also on the other energy-based devices. But the fractionated CO2 laser, vis-a-vis compared to other energy-based devices, seems to be scoring a little bit more currently. We need many more studies. We need many more of you all to come forward, start using this technology, offer a non-invasive technology to women with problems which cannot be treated. So we call you to join INSARG, for which Dr. Preeti is the General Secretary. Also, our first national conference of INSARG is scheduled in Chandigarh from 9th to 11th of October. You've already got the first flyer. Because of this disturbance, there has been delay on sending the details. But as soon as we get rid of COVID from our lives, we will be back to cosmetic gynecology, and we would like to invite you to Chandigarh for this conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The questions are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Naren. It was a really wonderful talk, and I think there's enough time for us to take up some questions. So can we go to the questions?
People can ask live also, but audio, but they'll have to unmute one by one. If everyone starts asking verbally, that will be difficult. So you type it, or you just raise your finger, unmute your video, and then you ask.
So typing is a
Shika has a question, I think. Ita Verma. So you have to unmute your video before you ask a question. And the questions will be addressed by Ragini, Preeti, and Jaideep. Ita, we cannot get you your video. You have to unmute. I'm unmuting you. Now you can speak.
What are the side effects?
Side effects, as of now, there are no side effects reported. It is fractionated carbon dioxide laser, which causes heating only 6 millimeters depth. The erbium laser and the radio devices cause 4 millimeters. So you're not burning the skin, you're not burning the surface, you're not hitting any blood vessels, you're not causing any infection. So as of now, no side effects have been reported as of now.
The only thing, if you think of the side effect, you have to properly take the contraindication first.
Yes.
The side effect is not because of the laser. It is usually because of you have not done the vaginal infection test or something, and it leads to some problem. So you have to see all the contraindication, because it is a medical problem. The way you treat any medical problem, you have to take a proper history, proper examination, and the proper indication and contraindication you have to take.
Yeah, I think Shika Gupta wants to ask a question. Now, unmuted you, Shika. You can go ahead and ask your question. Shika Gupta?
Hello.
Yeah.
If it's not getting connected, there's one more question in the chat. What is your experience, sir, on CO2 laser on vaginal prolapse?
Okay, so vaginal prolapse, Dr. Lalita, Dr. Ragini, would you like to address?
Yeah. So as far as I haven't done the proper prolapse, but I have done cases of the early cystocele in the elderly women, and it's a wonderful procedure. And both of them, their basic complaint is dragging sensation, the pelvic pain, and difficulty in urination, and it was cured completely. They are very happy with this procedure.
So procedentia and severe prolapse more than second degree will not be cured. So you have grade 1 prolapse, cystocele, rectocele, then we can fire the laser. If it is cystocele, we only fire it on the top. So you have collagen behind the urethra. If it is rectocele a little bit, yes. But if it is prolapsing right out of the introitus, then it needs surgery. So and post surgery, if it is laxness is still there, you can go ahead and do the laser.
So it's basically useful for grade 1 prolapse and
so grade 1. That's Dr. Lalita, who has great experience in prolapse surgeries with this.
Basically, these are the cases where you are not going to offer even any surgery to these patients. So this is her unspoken problem, what we want to discuss. That patient is suffering silently, we are not going to offer them. So what? For a grade 1 cystocele, elderly 62-year-old woman, you are not going to offer any operation also. So, but she is having pain, she is having a dragging sensation. So these are the answer where you can give a medical help to these women.
Also, what I have seen is that because why the prolapse takes place, because there is looseness of that area, and the purpose of laser is basically to rejuvenate your collagen and elastin protein. So as the area becomes more rejuvenated and tight, the prolapse reduces. So what I have seen in a big series, we have a good experience of lots of cases, and we have seen that the second degree prolapse becomes the first degree, and the first degree reduces. So I have found in my practical experience, it's very good for the prolapse also.
Yes, Preeti Matrani, you want to ask a question?
Sir, there is a question in the chat box which is asking for if a pap smear is advised before the CO2 laser for chronic vaginal infections.
Yes.
Yes, we have to rule out all infections.
It's not only chronic vaginal infection. In every case, if you are going for a laser, pap smear is must.
Anyway, pap smear anyway should be done in any woman who walks
Any
in the
woman.
gynae clinic. So once in 3 years pap smear, and after 35 years, if we can add co-testing with HPV, it is recommended to do in all women anyway.
It is a standard test which has to be done by all women.
Yeah.
Another question from the chat box, sir, which asks on which probes do you suggest, which are the minimum probes that we can invest in with the FemiLift device?
See, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do derma work and the surface work, so definitely you need a vaginal probe, the one. I would suggest to get a robotic probe, but if your budget does not allow, you can get a manual probe. Only if the manual, you have to just hold it and then keep on pulling. The robotic smart probe does everything itself. Surface probe definitely is required, and these are the two things which are absolutely must. Then you can add on to any amount of, depending on what your workload is. Preeti, what do you have? How many
Sir,
probes?
Sir, I have many probes,
So
but then
we have all fully loaded machines because you don't know what will require.
and we can use them for lots of things. Though most of us are doing surgery, so nowadays I don't do Bartholin abscess with a knife. I use the laser, so we
Same
can
here.
direct the surgical probe. Secondly, if you use the light scan, you can use it for the stretch marks also, because many of us are obstetricians as well. So you have the patients right in your center, so you can use the same machine for multiple purposes.
But anyway, the FemiLift machine comes in with all the probes as a
For the prolapse, sir, they want to know how many sittings would you require?
See, right now the sitting is, it's where the protocol is clear. 3 sittings, 1 month each, and a memory sitting after a year. So that is the protocol right now.
But sometimes we deviate to it and have another session, give the patient one more session, or in
Yes.
the same way, if it is added with the SUI and everything, maybe instead of the 3 pass to 4 pass. It is a very subjective thing. Still, we don't have a complete guidelines and this thing, but the standard procedure, what sir has said.
I have started doing 5 pass, Ragni. Every sitting is 5 passes now, not 3.
Even I'm doing now 5
We have
passes.
started doing 5 pass.
Yeah, and 5, and then you can always individualize. If she is a 80 years
Yes.
old lady, then you can probably do at lower setting
less.
3 passes. But if it's
Yes.
a young woman, we can go for 5 passes. And as sir said, I've got very good results with the 5 passes.
And especially in the older women, sometimes it is not possible to give the robotic arm inside.
Yes.
So we start with the manual one, and
Yes.
after two sessions, we can go with the robotic one also, because then the vagina become very pliable and soft.
Same
Okay,
in the patient.
Suman Vishnu, you have a question, yes?
Yeah. So you mean by passes, you mean the sittings, and what is the cost? It's a package or per sitting?
Sittings are once a month. Passes are how many times it goes inside and out.
Okay.
So 3 times. Now we are doing it 5 times. Sittings are 3 once a month.
Okay.
And
Okay.
1/4 sitting after.
And what is the cost like?
Cost, whatever you want, you can have.
It depends where are you working and how.
No,
how
but
much
then
you
we
want
have to tell the patient, na?
You can charge anything from 5,000 as low as 5,000 per sitting to 30,000 per sitting. Bombay they charge 30,000 per sitting.
Our package
Thank
is
you.
38,000 for 3 sittings.
My package is
Okay.
35,000 per sitting, but then depends as
So
per your patient.
that is such a big variation. 38,000 for all 3 sittings to the 35
And 35 per.
for one
Per
sitting.
sitting.
It is
In
totally up to you.
America, a single sitting is
Okay.
costing 1,50,000, and the machine is same price everywhere in America and India. So if a person is coming for a cosmetic thing, you have to see your ROI and so many things. charity can always be done, but then the price has to match with what you are investing in your
What you've
machine as well.
invested. Correct.
$6,000. What
Per
my
sitting.
cousin charges for this thing
Per sitting.
per sitting.
Yes, per sitting. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sir, there is another question asking what is your post-care advice post the laser? What do you recommend to your patient?
Nothing. She's normal. She's just going on a normal life. Just a
Yes.
vaginal hygiene by some wash, and she can resume sexual intercourse also after a week. Maybe just 24 or 48 hours of rest. That's it.
Yeah,
Also,
and they might experience some little spotting, so nothing to worry about
nothing
it.
to worry.
And just avoid intercourse for 4 days, and apply some oil or cream. That's it.
Yes.
And she can go for it's a coffee break procedure. She
It
can
is known as
straight away-
coffee break procedure. Women go for jobs. They get
Yes.
11 to 12. They get off for coffee. 11 to 11:30. They run away to a laser clinic, get their laser done, and come back and work.
And
So
that's
one
the
thing, but
beauty.
I tell my patient to use condom for the sexual activity. This is very necessary, and especially if the patient is not in a stable relationship, it is must to use condom.
Good idea.
And
Good. I think
good idea. And also one thing which is very important at this point is, as it is a coffee break procedure, so it's a non-invasive, just 5 minutes without any pain. So, and if any patient goes for any surgery for SUI, then the charges are much more in a good hospital. Then she has to have time off the duty, plus it's an invasive. So laser procedures and these advanced procedures, the beauty of them is that they are non-invasive. 10 minutes procedure, there is no cut, no pain. So I personally feel there is no harm in giving it a good value, and a patient will be very happy to pay a good amount for their non-invasive procedures.
So there is another question asking, do you use activated PRP?
So PRP, we are preparing currently immediately, just 15-20 minutes before it, and we've just started doing that. About only in 25-30 cases I've done that, and I feel it is giving better results. So we're using PRP prepared immediately.
Especially PRP after the laser is a wonderful thing, because when
Yes.
you do the carbon dioxide laser, you micro ablate the vagina. So when you
It'll go
put the
into the
PRP,
holes.
it seeps inside and goes inside. Normally, what happens when you give this on the face, you micro needle it or give a derma roller, so it has a bigger effect. In that way, when you do the laser and put the PRP just after this, it has a better result than pushing the PRP without laser.
If you
PRP.
put PRP in the vagina, it will just come out and it does not get absorbed. A lot of it goes waste. Same is with the uterine endometrial PRP. If you put PRP in the endometrium with an IUI cannula, it will all come out. Thin endometrium, PRP use, then you say it doesn't work. So for that also we have changed to hysteroscopic subendometrial injection of PRP. And you can go to my YouTube channel and see my videos on how we inject under the endometrium in 4 places, and fantastic results. The results changed. We were putting it with the IUI cannulas. Now the endometrium was not improving. We were giving GCS, everything. Now when you use it, when you innovate, then you get better results. It has to go in.
Yeah. Also PRP, when 2 things in it. Nowadays activation is, we do not activate it because we use freshly prepared PRP and there are lots of agents in it. So artificial activation is not required. Secondly, I've been using PRP for a long time now. And along with the laser, if you suburethraly inject PRP for SUI, then the results are better. Also for vaginal rejuvenation, as Ragini ma'am just said, that because there is microablation, already there are injury points. So if you just flush the PRP, then immediately after the laser, then it's taken up very nicely.
There's another question, sir, asking what is the ideal energy that you use on the introitus as well as inside the vaginal canal? And also, sir, I will amalgamate this with another question asking whether your results stay the same for vaginal tightening equivalent to stress urinary incontinence.
So the energy at the introitus has to be reduced to 4 or 5 sometimes, maybe 6, because that you'll know what the patient can tolerate. So your setting can change at that time. Now, because that is the only area where she'll feel a little bit of pricking pain. So we have to reduce that. As per the result, I think vaginal tightening results are much better than SUI results.
Sir, here I'll add one thing, that
Yes.
in SUI also the results which we have found, the mild, in mild and moderate, even in severe, we have found very good results, and it's a series of more than 150 cases now which we have done. And except for 2 patients, we have seen that the results, their quality of life is improved after
Much
3
good.
sittings, and it is quite good in SUI.
See, if you're doing only for SUI, you're targeting the laser only at the urethra, not the whole vagina. But I would still suggest that 3 passes only SUI
Yes.
and 2 passes.
2 passes. Yes.
That is what my protocol is, which I'm following.
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
one more thing. Never forget to evaluate your patient properly. That is very, very
That
necessary.
is
When
very
you
important.
fail or your patient does not give you a result, many a time
Because
your
your selection is
patient
not
is
good.
not up to the mark. Number 2,
Correct.
sometimes you have to do a combined therapy, not only the PRP. Sometimes you need a pelvic physiotherapy to these patients also. Pelvic physiotherapy is a wonderful thing between, if your patient is say more than the milder variety towards the moderate SUI, or so you have to combine these things with either pelvic physiotherapy, or as Preeti has one chair, that is a very wonderful option to join with the laser. And laser, no doubt, when my patient come for the SUI, I usually give 1 pass only for the SUI, but next pass is the general, the whole vagina, because this relaxation is not only at that angle what the patient is presenting, the whole vagina is used after the delivery. So patient is going to benefit.
Yes.
It is not going to harm me if I give a complete 360-degree rotation to the vagina. No doubt, as sir has said, the 5 pass, these are those 2 passes extra along with that 3 passes only for the SUI point.
Doctors, your
Also,
experience. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Just lifestyle modification is also very important. If she's taking 10 cups of coffee or tea in a day,
That we
and also
mentioned.
if the weather changes during winters, their SUI worsens. We all know that. And also if they develop diabetes as the age is increasing. So again, all these evaluations are also very important, that why the result is not coming.
See, other things which you can use, which I did not mention, is hyaluronic acid injections on the side of the vagina, the bulking agents. The threads can be there. Put on the clitoris, on the G point for sexual enhancement. There are lots and lots of things which can be done, but those are not due to laser, but those are cosmetic procedures, aesthetic procedures, regenerative procedures, which this branch can do.
Your experience, sir, on doctors on vulvodynia, which probe do you prefer to use, and what is your treatment protocol?
Batao Preeti for surface probes.
Yeah. Vulvodynia, it's a very beautiful results I have got. I have a series
Very
of
good
around
results.
8 patients now, and with such severe vulvodynia that they were not even able to wear their undergarments and could not even sit. And for that, the probe which is used is a scanner probe. And in this, the patient is asked to come a bit early, and we apply an anesthetic jelly outside, lignocaine or prilocaine jelly. And then after half an hour with a scanner, we just lace the whole area outside. The hair have to be removed earlier. And then after 3 sittings, in fact, after first sitting only, they start feeling better, but the protocol remains the same, that 3 sittings, 1 month apart. And after 3 sittings, I have seen very wonderful results. Sir will add to it.
No, we showed you in our 4 cases how the pain score reduces from 9 to 2 or 3 in the second sitting only. So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful procedure for vulvodynia because you have nothing there. We have no treatment. Right now we have no treatment except making deep incisions and cutting all the nerves physically. But that is a very gruesome. You give them 2 big scars on both the sides.
Sir, there's someone also asking what is the duration of your every procedure, and there's a repetition of the question on the post-procedure advice.
So duration, it takes 5 minutes. It's a coffee
5 minutes,
break procedure, 5 to 10 minutes OPD procedure. The machine is in the OPD. There are no prerequisites except she's screened for all infections and screened nicely. History and examination has been done before scheduling the procedure. The post procedure is nothing. She can resume intercourse after 4 days. I advise them after 1 week, and with a condom, which Dr. Ragni has said, so that the semen does not, fluid does not go through those holes and maybe cause theoretical infection. But we can, so no special precautions to be taken after.
So there is another question, sir, asking any center offering hands-on training.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sir
have.
Center
We are all
also and
offering
Mohali
We are
also.
all
So many
offering.
centers.
We're all offering, and very soon we will be announcing a combined training course from INSAR or in all the 4 zones, maybe one in Chandigarh, one in Agra, one in Gurgaon, and the 5 or 6 centers who have agreed to hold training courses. So we'll have centralized, and we'll just take about 20 people because we have to show you hands-on, so not more than 20 at a time. We had one done in Agra last year from ISAG, and international training course for 2 days, and went off fantastic. So we are planning all those.
There is another question on PRP, sir, for vaginal rejuvenation. So the question says spraying PRP will not lead to, Mayuri, can you unmute yourself and take the question, because it's not very clear. Not lead to a good long contact of PRP to the tissue.
So if you are putting PRP like that only, that is what we said.
Yes.
If you put PRP only in the vagina, it is not going to go inside the vaginal wall. It will all come out. So it will be only on the surface and it will be patchy. Once you have done the laser and you have microablation, you have micro holes in the whole of the vagina, which I showed you in the slide. This PRP will immediately go through those holes to the collagen area where we want it to go, and it will work much better.
So what do the doctors, I mean, in your practice, are we following the practice of taking consent before every procedure?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yes.
oh yes, consent has to be taken because there are no clear-cut guidelines. So a lot of people still think it's an experimental treatments, but there is enough evidence now, enough papers, enough societies endorsing the program, endorsing the treatments, but a consent is a must.
And also, as it is not FDA approved, so you have to take a consent that this is not an FDA approved procedure, but then as no harmful effects are known, and as Sir rightly said, lots of studies have been done. So patient has to give a consent definitely that they are willing for this procedure at their own risk.
The question is that when you are doing any procedure, even a small biopsy,
Yes.
which is there in ages, you take a consent that you are doing a biopsy. It's a medical procedure. So consent is a part and parcel of every procedure, and you are very, very open and very clear to your patient. So if everything is very clear, very transparent, and patient will never feel cheated about anything, and she's not going to listen from others what the others are saying, especially as Preeti has said about the so-called FDA. So FDA is not everything, but still when it is giving a guidelines, people are going for that. So we have to tell it very openly. Yes, FDA has not given a approval, but again, FDA has given the approval to the carbon dioxide laser for a bigger thing, for the
Yes.
conization, for the water removal in the vagina and the
For
cervix, where it is going
inside the
more
abdomen
deeper.
for endometriosis. For
More
using
deeper.
inside the abdomen.
So
Yes.
that
Yes.
we know that we are on the surface. It is not
you-
going to do any
So
harm.
we are very
to
safe.
the
We are
patient.
in very safe area.
Yes, one thing which I want to add, here comes the role of an approved, FDA approved machine, and a machine which you buy from a Chinese or a Korean market which is not approved. So maybe the energy which you are putting, where it is going, nobody knows.
Yeah.
So this is
So
a
there
difference.
are
when
laser
IR
companies who have mushroomed in India, and they'll say half the cost में वो Chinese से machine है, हम guarantee लेते हैं, हम training कराएंगे, हम ये करेंगे, but please don't go for Chinese machine, especially after COVID, so nothing Chinese.
One thing I would like to add, please invest very, very nicely in your equipment, because one wrong equipment can put your reputation and the patient's life in danger. So do not compromise on your equipments, please.
So there is also a question regarding vaginal rejuvenation. If we can tackle this only with lasers, or is PRP a must? Can we manage it without PRP?
So we were doing it only with lasers till recently. With PRP, the results are much better. You can do it only with laser.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted
Yes,
to
Dr.
add
Jaydeep.
also was that you have to invest also in good training, because
Yes.
a lot of people, just buy the machine and sit down
Yes.
without, formal training, and I don't think that would be a correct idea.
Right. Right, ma'am.
So about the recurrence in SUI, is it so howling in this also? So is lasers useful in any recurrent cases of SUI?
Yes.
Yes. See, nothing is permanent. Why SUI is happening? It's because of the aging. So aging will keep on happening. What we are doing with laser is we are giving them cure for next few years. But as she ages, her collagen and elastin will deplete. That's the role of the memory sitting, which Sir was talking about. That after 1 year, we give a memory sitting. So every year you give a memory sitting, and that will help in preventing the recurrence.
So far, ma'am, these are the questions in the chat box. If anybody has any questions, either you can place them in the chat box or you can raise your hand. We'll address them.
And we are coming back again on the next Thursday.
Yes.
So the next Thursday is Dr. Tanuja will be talking about history of cosmetic and aesthetics gynecology, and after that next Thursday Dr. Ragini and then Dr. Lalita and Dr. Preeti, and that is how we will just put the schedule on very soon.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much for joining and giving so a detailed, knowledge sharing for Femilift and overall experience. Thank you, Dr. Ragini. Thank you, Dr. Preeti. Thank you, Dr. Jaydeep. And I would also thank you for everyone for participating. I would also like to share that on Thursday, 16th of April, around 4 p.m., we also have a lift practice management. So we'll share the link with all of you shortly. Please join, and I'm sure you will benefit out of the session. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ankita. It was very nice. And thanks to Femilift.
It was very good interactive session. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Jaydeep ma'am. Thank you, Ragini ma'am. Bye.